Second member of our panel tonight is Harvard's leading historian of international relations, the Charles Warren Professor of History and Director of the Warren Center for Studies in American History. Professor Ernest May's publications include a book entitled The Ultimate Decision, The President as Commander-in-Chief, a second book entitled Lessons of the Past, The Uses and Misuses of History in American Foreign Policy, and if I cite just one additional book, an excellent book that he wrote with another colleague here at the Kennedy School entitled Thinking in Time, The Uses of History for Decision Makers. Professor May and a number of his colleagues teach here at the Kennedy School a course on uses and misuses of history for the purposes of policy making. So it's a great honor to have him as the second member of our panel.
Thank you, Graham. I just want to make three very quick points following my colleague, the eloquent comments of my colleague, Tom Tai. The first is a quite academic point. It's a criticism of Secretary McNamara's book, which I think on the whole an excellent book, but his reconstruction of what happened in the 60s is, I think, quite clinical and rational, and he looks back and explains the mistakes that were made in judgment and policy. I don't think that the book succeeds in recreating the frame of mind in which those decisions were made. That if you take the episode that he was describing here, which is described in some detail in the book, the transition from the Eisenhower to the Kennedy administrations, here are the best and the brightest, not only of the Kennedy administration, but of the Eisenhower administration. And they sit there and they believe, they say to each other and they believe that the fate at least of Southeast Asia and perhaps of the civilized world hinges on what happens in Laos, a landlocked country of 3 million hamlets, populated by people devoted primarily to singing songs, making love, and raising opium. And there's a theology around it, a set of beliefs which are not recaptured in the book. And it's a little bit like, if you'll forgive my saying so, it's a little bit like a Crusader's memoir written by someone who can't remember why he particularly cared about the fate of Jerusalem.